Sanjay, are we good to go? Shall we proceed?
Yes, Resign. Let's start.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. And again, very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We warmly welcome you to the second day of IT, ICT, BPO workshop series. And today we have one of a special person, Engineer Dushanta Maduranga, and he currently works in Singapore. And as we all aware that we have a time difference as well, but he is diligently logged into the platform and he will be conducting the session for next 1.5 hours time. Before moving to the core session, I would like to highlight certain ground rules which we have been conducting so far. Those who attended for the first session, I'm sure that we all are familiar with how it goes. And basic session or the core session will be conducted by the key presenter today, is Engineer Dushanta Maduranga. It will be conducted at least 1 hour time, and we have a Q&A session from there onwards, where we open the chat box from there only. At the same time, we have the hand raise option. If you have a question or anything to be clarified, you can raise your hand through this Zoom platform. I'm sure that you all are familiar with how to do it. This is from the reaction button. You can have this hand raise option, which I have done right now. Then we give the opportunity for the basis of first in, first serve basis for those who wish to shoot their questions straight away to the presenter, and the presenter himself have another 2 resource personnel to share with their knowledge, and that's how it goes. And marking your attendance is an essential factor which we have. If you are willing to obtain your certificate, you have to mark your attendance and you have to have at least minimum of 80% attendance. To mark the attendance again, what we do is we put a Google form through this very chat box in the Zoom platform or at the YouTube live streaming, which means we have a YouTube live streaming as well for the backup, as well as for this redundancy purpose. If any of you are unable to log into the Zoom platform, you can have your attendance through the YouTube as well. And we have now started our YouTube live streaming. And to have this, to access to the YouTube live streaming, you have to subscribe the channel. And that's how it goes. Mama පොඩ්ඩක් සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් සුබදෑසන සියලු දෙනාට ප්‍රාර්ථනා කරන ගමන් අපි අද සියලු දෙනාම පිළිගන්නවා අද දෙවනි දවසේ හැටියට අපගේ වැඩසටහනේ ප්‍රධාන දේශකයා ඉංජිනේර දුෂාන්ත මදුරංග. අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම සඳහන් කරොත් පරණ සෙෂන්ස් වල සම්බන්ධ වෙච්ච කට්ටිය දන්නවා අපි ප්‍රධාන කාරණා දෙකක්. එකක් තමයි අපි chat box සහ මෙතන chat එක enable කරලා නැහැ කාටවත් ප්‍රධාන දේශනේ අවසන් වන තුරු ප්‍රධාන දේශනේ අතරතුර දේශකයාට බාධා කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එතනින් පස්සේ අපි විශේෂයෙන්ම ප්‍රධාන දේශනෙන් පසුව පැය භාගයක පමණ අපි Q&A session එක ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න සහ ඔබගේ clarifications වලින් කිසි දෙයක් निराකරණය කරගන්න අවශ්‍ය නම් අපි අවස්ථාවක් ලබා දෙනවා. ඒ වෙලාවට අපි chat box එක open කරනවා සහ ඊට අමතරව ඔබට පුළුවන් මේ hand raise කියන button එක click කරලා reaction එකකින් ඔබට ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට අමතරව තවත් ඔබට ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා නම් අපි recommend කරන්නේ මට හෝ අපේ සංවිධායක මණ්ඩලයට සහ මේ ඔබ සම්බන්ධ වෙන WhatsApp group හරහා ඔබට පුළුවන් මේ ප්‍රශ්න ඉදිරිපත් කරලා තියන්න. අපි ඒවා ගොනු කරලා අපි දේශකයා හරහා පිළිතුරු ලබා දීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඊට අමතරව ආදේශනයේ අතරතුර, ඒ කියන්නේ මිනිත්තු 20කින් 20න් පමණ ඉන්ටර්වල්ස් අතරතුර ආදේශකයා සිංහල භාෂාවෙනුත් යම්කිසි සාරාංශයක් ඉදිරිපත් කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඊළඟට වැදගත්ම කාරණය තමයි යම්කිසි ආකාරයෙන් ඔබට power failure එකක් එහෙම නැත්නම් signal drop එකක් නිසා ඔබට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න බැරි වුණොත් Zoom platform එකේ හරහා ඔබ disconnect වුණොත් සම්බන්ධතාවය බිඳවැටුණොත් එහෙම අපි recommend කරන්නේ YouTube එකෙන් බලන්න සහ පසුව හරි ඔබ බැලුවොත් YouTube එකේ බලපු screenshots සහ නැත්නම් මේ Zoom එකේ බලපු screenshots මිනිත්තු 30 පරතරයක් නැතුළු screenshot අඩුම ගානේ 3ක්වත් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න සංවිධායක මණ්ඩලය ඉල්ලන අවස්ථාවකදී ඔබේ attendance එක prove කරන්න අවශ්‍ය වෙනවා. If you have failed, if you have disconnected through the Zoom platform or YouTube due to any failure of signal or the power failure, what we recommend is you to prove your attendance. Keep at least minimum of 3 to 4 screenshots with the intervals of 30 minutes to prove when it is demanded by the organizing committee to have a proof for your attendance. That's how it goes. And as I mentioned in Sinhalese, there could be a briefing session at every 20 minutes or so, or at the discretion of the presenter. Presenter will make a small briefing in Sinhala language as well for you to have a convenient communication. So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to move to the session today without wasting much of a time. And as I mentioned, Engineer Dushantha Maduranga, he got his basic degree from University of Peradeniya under the discipline of computer science and engineering, and he currently works in Singapore for a private firm, and he has a huge experience, particularly in software industry. And this gentleman is selfless to share his knowledge, and I know for a fact that he's been preparing for this session for almost 1 month, I should say. And if I'm to brief him technically, Dushantha Maduranga is a software professional with closer to 11 years in experience in the industry. Dushantha has good understanding in core software design fundamentals, software developments, and delivery. He has an extensive experience in main business domains, including aviation, credit management, e-procurement, and logistics. So those are the technical definitions, but I know for a fact that he's one of a gentlemen who would like to help, especially for this younger generation. And I'm sure there are a lot of undergraduates and young professionals are here. So we can get a lot of inputs from him. At the same time, I'm sure that he's a very good person to be in touch for you to have your clarification, not only just for this session. I'm sure that with this 1 hour time or 1.5 hour time, we cannot learn everything, but our objective is to make your eyes open. At the same time, there are a lot of non-IT professionals here, so we can explore that how we are going to have a redundant plan or have an opportunity in this sector. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Engineer Dushantha. Engineer Dushantha, the screen is yours.
So thank you very much, Engineer Nalin. Hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, good to go, please. It's all fine.
Thank you very much for that good introduction. And thank you for the others for joining for this evening. And hope we all had a very good starting on the earlier week. We had a good session with the very descriptive one, covering all the big picture in IT industry. So today I'm planning to focus more on the software development and the role of the software developer and the software engineer. So let me share my screen. Hope you can see the screen.
Yes, Sushant, yes, it's all good.
Okay, let's get started. Yeah. So even though my intention is to discuss and the research about the software developer and software engineer role, I think it's better to start with a good definition for the IT professional, because this industry is not only for the software developers and software engineers. There are plenty of other opportunities for the other roles as well. And the people who are here today might definitely have their own goals to reach with their own paths. So it's better that I would give some of the other backgrounds. I mean, some of the other roles as well. But I'll be explaining more on software development and software developer, software engineer role today. Okay, so when it comes to the IT industry, that you can see when it comes to an IT department, so we have a lot of other departments engaging into it, like the infrastructure management is there, right? So the QA, the software quality assurance department is there. So altogether, it's the IT department. It's not only for the software developers or software engineers. So I found very good definitions from the internet. Actually, one is from the University of the People and one is from the CSU Global. So you can see The IT professionals are the people who build, test, install, repair, and maintain hardware and software within the organization. So it gives a very clear the identification of all the roles. So we can see that the people who build, test, install, repair, it means that the software developers, the infrastructure people, the QA people, the quality assurance people, and the support engineers, the analysis, business analysis, technical writers, all are there. So this is an industry with all these kind of roles. And when I go to the CSU global one, which says a specific code study. So you can see that what would an IT professional do? Actually, the first word is study. That's why I mainly took this one, because normally when we think about that, after the graduation, when we move into a job, we think that we have learned something that we can apply those things in the industry. But actually, that is not the truth. So if you think that, for my case, to be honest, there are a lot of things that I had to study from the beginning. So whatever we study, actually, those are the basic concepts in university level, and there are much more to grab, much more to grasp, to support in the IT industry. So this is never-ending process. You always have to learn. You always have to improve yourself with study. So it's very good, the definition for this one. So study, design, develop, implement, support, manage computer-based systems, including both software applications and computer hardware. So here you can see that the computer hardware is also mentioned here. So it's not only the software, it's actually the hardware. Without hardware, we cannot implement the softwares, and without their support, we cannot present something to the customers. We cannot present something out of what we have learned. So it's together actually, the software and the hardware. So this is a good definition and good descriptive thing that we can get a good idea of how we can get an understanding of what an IT professional do and what are the roles in the IT industry. Moving on. So I hope you are familiar with this diagram. This is we call the software development life cycle. Normally we call it as SDLC. You can see there are many phases. Some of you may find a number of phases, like 7, 8 phases in software development lifecycle, and sometimes there are less phases. But I would take this one because I could clearly describe some of the key roles related to these specific phases. So when it comes to the software development lifecycle, it starts with analysis, then the design part, and the implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. So when you think about a software company, mostly in Sri Lanka, based on my experience that where I have worked for, is basically software development companies which build software to the outside world. I mean, mainly for the foreign countries. But actually, I saw something different. I have experienced something different when I moved to Singapore. So at that time, I saw that most of the other companies who recruit the IT professionals, actually they recruit these resources to build their own software, not to sell the software to another company or another country. Like they build their own software within the company. They run their business using that particular software. So there is some kind of differences are there. So let's go through the phases and the specific roles related to those specific phases. So beginning actually the project manager. So the project manager is all over these phases. You can see that not only to IT field, he can be there in other industries as well, like in other engineering industries, the other finance industries, all over the project manager role is there. So what the project managers do is he is driving a team to a particular goal with a specific timeline. So under him, there is a specific team, and his responsibility is to drive the team to achieve the particular goal. So the project managers are all these phases. And the other one is business analyst and technical writers. So I would say I initially wanted to explain this particular roles because of course that we have our own capabilities, we have our own skills, and there are some skills that we take, I mean, we gain from our birth. So some of the people, I mean, all the people are not in the same level of skills. So they have different skills. So everybody is, I mean, of course, in this particular session as well, I believe that everybody is not willing to have the software development, I mean, the coding role. So they may have some skills related to the other areas as well. Some may can describe a requirement very clearly to a developer who can understand well. Someone can describe and someone can document it very clearly, and where a developer can easily understand it and implement it to a software. So this kind of roles are there. So that is why the business analytics and the technical writers are there in this the particular role. So when we think about the analysis phase, it is basically we engage with the customer, and we take the requirement and we analyze it and we document it. And this is the main objective of this phase. And after those analysis and every requirement and clarifications, everything are documented, and those documented will be used in the other phases. Like next we go to the design phase. So design phase mainly engage, and main responsible person is, as per my experience, the solution designers. So let me share one experience with you. When I joined in one of the telecommunication company in Singapore, so we had a distributed system environment. Normally the telecommunication, the telco, the domain, which has main two parts. One is the consumer business, and other one is the enterprise business. Consumer means the end customers like us, like normal person, and the enterprise business is targeting the small and medium business, mid-market, and those business accounts. Those are specifically the organizations. So in that case, our main the services, whatever the software is built to handle the business of this telecommunication business is a distributed environment. Means we have common services, and these common services are consumed by various applications. So when it comes to a change, there are a lot of impact to the other applications. So this is where a solution designer needs to come. Solution designer is a person who starts with the software development. Basically, he starts with software engineer, and after he getting experience and the technical knowledge and the domain knowledge, and with all these things, basically within that organization, a lot of domain knowledge and the system knowledge, he can he has the big image. Actually, he has the big image. So whatever the changes that we are going to do, and at that time, he can clearly identify the impacted areas. So this is called the impact analysis. So this is normally a newly joined software engineer cannot do, and the QA engineer cannot do. So this needs a good understanding of the software systems, basically within that organization. So normally this design part, the solution designers are responsible for that one, and mainly he creates the documents, which is mainly two types of documents: the software architecture documents and the functional architecture documents. So for these discussions, all the lower level engineers, the lower level business analysts, they can participate and contribute the ideas. So this is how the design part is happening. So once the impact analysis is done and we all agree to that one, then the design part is over. Then it is up to the software developers and software engineers to implement what we have discussed in design phase. So this is how the design phase happens. So then actually the implementation phase, which is actually with software engineers and developers. So for this one as well, it's not only one person. There can be a team. There can be a team lead, and there are some various project management tools, strategies are being used, like Agile and Waterfall. Of course, it is not being used at the moment for many of the organizations. Now they have all moved into the Agile processes. So at this stage, there are some not all. I mean, I wanted to say that it is not only the coding. There are some other things as well, like taking the estimations and do the documentations. As an example, this is my real example. So I was in the on-site team, and I had to communicate. I had to work with two teams. One of the team in India, and the other team is in Vietnam. So the front end of the software was developed by the Vietnam developers, and the back end, some of the services were developed by the team in India. And I was in the on-site team. I was responsible for both front end and the back end. So at that time, there are a lot of distributed services. So in the design phase, that we have agreed that we are going to change on these particular APIs, and these parameters will be changed, and these parameters needs to be passed through the upper stream. So likewise, these were documented. So then we have to understand it first, and before doing the coding, we have to communicate with each others. And there are some processes, meetings, and after that we have to agree on a timeline. Then we have to start. So this is how normally the process in the implementation part. So implementation is it can internally has some internal phases as well, because some of the time, not most of the time, some of the time, based on the organization, the software developers and engineers, basically they're doing this production support as well. So let's think about a situation that there is a production incident came in, which is very urgent, that customer cannot submit an order. So he is a key customer of the organization. So at that time, our implementation has to be delayed, and we need to give some priority to the production incidents. So this kind of a management is there. So it is not only a coding thing, it's actually a management, communication, and everything is collaborated in this role. So I'll describe and I'll discuss in detail in the upcoming slides as well about this particular role. So I'm sharing this experience that which I have faced, and I have learned a lot of things, and I have gained much of experiences related to these particular areas. Okay. After the implementation phase, that we agree on a timeline and we give kind of a date that this is okay to, I mean, it is after the developer testing, being done. And then we assign the deployments to be tested by the QA engineers. So there is a QA process. QA engineers take that responsibility and test with all the test scenarios. And if they find issues, they report with some. There are a lot of online applications like there are a lot of project management tools actually. So they can use one of those project management tool to report these bugs and assign to the particular developers, and we can fix it again and do the deployments. And finally, the testing phase is over. Then it is the sign-off phase from the from the QA. So QA then give us the OK. The software is tested. Particular features are tested, and it is okay to be in production. So then the deployment part, which is actually being done by the. This is based on the organizations actually. If we think about a small organization or a startup organization, there may not be much of resources. So most of the time, software developer are doing many roles. I mean, software developer is doing a lot of actions, like not only coding, but he's doing the documentation, he's doing the testing, and he's doing the deployment as well, and he's doing the production monitoring, production support, and everything. So that kind of experience also I have when I was working in Sri Lanka, a small organization, but that is a really good experience for you to improve your knowledge and take the big picture of SDLC, the software development lifecycle. So when it comes to the deployment, normally we have a new role. I'm not going to say it's a new role. It was there for some certain time period. We call it DevOps engineers. The definition is the people who combines the developments, we call it dev, combine the developments and IT operations together. So it is actually when it comes to the deployment, actually, you know that to do the testing for the QA engineers, they cannot use our local environments. So local means developer environments. They needs to have a different QA hotfix like environments. Environments means the physical servers, So we need to have deployments for the QA environments, and after the sign-off is done, then we need to deploy the artifacts, the outputs to the production environment. So these particular operations is being done by the DevOps engineers. So they have this ability, they have this knowledge set, they have this experience to do this. So this is very demanded and highly paid job role in current software industry. If you search for many job portals, if you search any job portals that DevOps engineers, you can find lots of opportunities, lots of opportunities in every country. So this is a very key role in the software industry. So when it comes to the maintenance, so after the software has been deployed to the production environment, now it is to the end customer, end user to play with it. I mean, he needs end customers to use it for their own the requirement. So even if we tested everything, there will the actual scenario is there will be a lot of production defects. So because every issues, I mean, there are a lot of issues we cannot even imagine in the testing process. There are a lot of combinations of functional testing. Like there can be a lot of data issue. There can be a lot of the design gaps comes in the real environment, which is not tested in testing phase. So the maintenance part, in my experience, when I was working with that particular telecommunication organization, there's a separate production support team to monitor these cases. So what their job role is, when a case is reported, they first, this can be a front-end issue, This can be a server-side issue. This can be a data issue. This can be a login-related issue. So there can be a lot of scenarios. So the support support engineers, what they do is they check into this one. If it is the front end related, they can do some operations like using some specific tools. And if it is server side related, they can check the server logs and find out the particular exceptions and find out the exact root cause of the issue. So this is actually a very responsible role, and based on the urgency, maybe the development team, let's say we need a code fix, we need a development code fix for this particular issue to be fixed. But in the project plan, actually, the development team is on busy with highly urgent tasks. So at that time, what support engineers can do is they can do a data patch and they can do some workarounds to overcome this situation. This is not a permanent solution, but for that overcome to that particular scenario, these things can be done. So those are the main responsibilities of the support engineers. So so you can see that there are a lot of roles related to SDLC. පොඩක් සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් ඒ ටික දැන් මට ඇත්තටම උමනාව තිබුණේ මේ software engineer සහ software developer කියන role එක ගැන වැඩිපුර කතා කරන්න උමනාව තිබුණත් මේ software development life cycle එකේදී හුඟක් roles තියෙනවා අපිට හම්බෙන. ඉතින් ඒ roles වලට යාලටම ආවේනික වූ මේ responsibilities තියෙනවා. ආවේනික වූ වැඩ ටිකක් තියෙනවා කරන්න. ඉතින් ඒ ටික මේ හුඟක් වැදගත් මේ software එක team එකක් විදිහට අපිට ඉස්සරහට යන්න. ඒ හැම role එකක්ම වැදගත්. ඒ හැම role එකක්ම සාමාන්‍යයෙන් IT industry එකක ගත්තොත් වෙන ඕනම industry එකකට වඩා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ලොකු salary එකක් හම්බෙනවා. ඒ වගේම based on the organization, ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර organization එක බලපුවාම ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි ගත්තොත් investment banks, government organization වගේ ගත්තොත් ගොඩක් stable jobs තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම මේ job security එක ගැන බය වෙන්න අවශ්‍ය නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ මම දැනුවත් කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා සිංගප්පූරේ අවුරුදු 14ක් 15ක් විතර production support කරනවා මේ OCBC bank එක, DBS bank එකේ වගේ. ඒ කියන්නේ එකම role එක අවුරුදු ගාණක් කරනවා, හොඳ salary එකකුත් හම්බ වෙනවා. ඉතින් ගොඩක් stable. ඉතින් organization එකත් කැමති නැහැ ඒ වගේ කෙනෙක්ව යවා ගන්න. ඒ නිසා ඒ වගේ කෙනෙක්ව තියාගන්න මොකද එයා system එකේ all around knowledge එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒ knowledge එක replace කරන්න බෑ මේ new resource එකකින්. new resource එකකින් replace කරත් ඒක ගොඩක් කල් යනවා අර වගේ knowledge එකක් එයාට ගන්න. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ ගොඩක් මේ industry එකේ කියන්නේ software development life cycle එක ගත්තාම මේ ගොඩක් වැදගත් සහ stable job roles ටිකක් තියෙනවා මේකේ. ඒතර මට ඒ ටික කතා කරන්න තමයි මෙතනදී ඕනුනේ. අද අතරම software engineer සහ software developer කියන role එක ගැන තමයි ටිකක් වැඩිපුර කතා කරන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. අපි ඉස්සරහට ඒ ටික කතා කරගෙන යමු.
Dushanta?
Oh.
Yeah, Dushanta, sorry to disturb you. That going back to this life cycle, I think it's good if you can mention that not only those software development, software engineers, so what about the other engineers or the other professionals? So with different IQ levels, is there any opportunities like to plug into some other positions, like for example, this analysis part or testing or the maintenance part? Is there any other opportunities, not only just for the engineers from the software background? What about the other engineers or what about the other technocrats?
Yeah, of course, there are. I mean, if you, it's a very good question. If you see the job portals around, if I would say, just search for LinkedIn, just search for Monster, Indeed, and there are a lot of opportunities for the business analysts, technical writers, software testers, support engineers. So for everybody needs to have a degree, of course, that is the first thing. And after that, for this related to these particular areas, they need to have special skill sets. So, as an example, for the QA engineers, there are a set of certifications. So, of course, they can. It's not that much hard to gain. So there is a learning curve. There is a learning process. After that, they can achieve it. And it is the skill. It is very good to build this skill set and ready for this particular role. And for the business analysis as well. So mainly the software developer cannot do much of the things like meeting a customer and discuss the particular requirement, because the mindset is different. Like the technical mindset and the business mindset, there is a big gap. So, but there are people that who are really skillful with those areas, like the business. And when it comes to the business and understand the business and convert it to a format that a developer can understand, a software engineer can understand. So there are certifications for those areas as well. So likewise, the people who can develop those areas, those skills, and be ready for this particular roles. There are a lot of opportunities, not only the software engineer and software developer. Yeah.
Thanks, Dushant. And I think if you can just take about 1 minute to say, because this is one of a very important area, which I think which is very important for the audience. So can you take 1 minute to tell about in Sinhalese as well?
Oh, sure.
Sorry to disturb this.
අතරම මේ එතනදී අර ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන් මට මේක මේ කියන්න ඕනුනේ දැන් software engineer සහ software developer කියන මේ role දෙක ඇත්තටම යාලට technical mindset එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ යුනිවර්සිටි එකේ ඉන්න කාලෙත් සහ ඊට පස්සේ out වුණාට පස්සේ job එකට ඇවිල්ලත් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට technical related දේවල්ම තමයි කරන්නේ. එතකොට දැන් නමුත් ඇත්තටම දැන් business අපි අවසානයේදී මේ software එකක් හදන්නේ customer කෙනෙක්ව target කරගෙන. ඒතර ඇත්තටම customer ට technical කියන දේ අදාළ වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එයාට එයාගේ business එක run කරගන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට දැන් එයාගේ business එක run කරද්දී එයාට ඕනේ දේවල් ටික. ඒ කියන්නේ එයාට ඕනේ features ටික. ඒ කියන්නේ මගේ business එක මෙන්න මේ විදිහට handle වෙන්න ඕනේ. මෙන්න මේ features through තමයි මගේ revenue එක generate වෙන්න ඕනේ. එතකොට මට මෙන්න මේ වගේ features මේ කාලෙදී add කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් ඔන්න ඔය කියන කතන්දරේ තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් කට්ටිය තමයි අතරම business analyst ලා කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ එයාලා හොඳට ඒ කතන්දරේ හොඳට තේරුම් අරගෙන ඒක document කරනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක document කරනවා developer කෙනෙකුට තේරුම් ගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට. ඒතකොට developer ට තියෙන අතර මේක තේරුම් අරගෙන ඒක source code එකක් බවට convert කරගන්න එක. ඉතින් මේ දැන් software developer කියන role එකයි software developer කියන role එකේ පොඩි අර මේ කියන්නේ මම කියන්නේ හැමෝටම මේක තියෙනවා කියලා. ඒ කියන්නේ පොඩි the skill gap එකක් නැත්නම් knowledge gap එකක් තියෙනවා අර business analysis part එකත් එක්ක. එතකොට හුඟක් communication ගොඩක් හොඳ එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ, ඒ කියන්නේ මේ පැත්තට හුඟක් ආස එක්කෙනෙක්ගේ customers ලත් එක්ක engage වෙලා ඒ තියෙන මේ business එක ගැන හොඳට ඉගෙනගෙන ඒ domain එක ගැන හොඳ knowledge එකක් තියාගෙන ඒ දේවල් document කරන්න පුළුවන් හොඳ හැකියාවක් තියාගෙන අන්න එහෙම එන එක්කෙනෙකුට ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ skills ඇත්තටම develop කරගන්න එක්කෙනෙකුට ඕනේ තරම් opportunities තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් වෙලාවට customer face කරන්නේ මේ කට්ටිය. ඉතින් මේ ඒ කට්ටිය හොකක් කියන්නේ ඉහළින් value කරනවා work organizations වල. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ opportunities ඕනේ තරම් තියෙනවා. අපි නිකමට search කරලා බැලුවොත් ඕනේ තරම් job boards බලන්න ලෝකෙ වටේ ඕනෙම තැනක කියන්නේ මේ ගොඩක් මේ roles තියෙනවා. කියන්නේ ගොඩක් opportunities තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ උදාහරණයක් මම කියන්නම්. මාත් එක්ක ආව මෙහි යාළුවෙක්, එයා අතරම QA tester කෙනෙක්, QA engineer කෙනෙක්. මගෙත් එක්කම ලංකාවේ වැඩ කරපු කෙනෙක්. එයාගේ English හොඳටම හොඳයි, communication ගොඩක් හොඳයි. කියන්නේ එයාට engage වෙන්න හැකියාව තියෙනවා. ටිකක් අනිත් කියන්නේ දැන් ගොඩක් engineers ලට වඩා කියන්නේ එයාට skill එකක් තියෙනවා customers ලත් එක්ක හොඳට engage වෙලා හොඳට කතා බහ කරලා ඒ තියෙන ideas ටික share කරගෙන ඒ විදිහේ හැකියාවක් තියෙන කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් එයා ඇත්තටම දැන් software ඒ කියන්නේ lead testing position එකක ඉඳලා lead business analyst role එකකට change වුණා startup company එකක සිංගප්පූරුවේ. ඉතින් ගොඩක් salary එක වැඩි. ඒ වගේ රෝල් එකකට යමු වුණා. ඉතින් අන්න ඒ වගේ කියන්නේ මේ ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකේ ඇත්තටම දැන් හිතා ගන්න බෑ දැන් ඩෙවලොපර් කෙනෙක් වෙලා ඉන්න එක්කෙනෙක් සමහර විට මේ එයා BA කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් දවසක. එයා සමහරවිට ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් මැනේජර් කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් ඉස්සරහට යනකොට. ඉතින් අන්න ඒ වගේ ඔපචුනිටිස් ගොඩක් තියෙන ඉන්ඩස්ට්‍රි එකක් ඉතින් මේක. ඉස්සරහට කතා කරගෙන යන්න. So let's start about the role of a software engineer. So you can see that as I mentioned earlier, that the software engineer is based on that SDLC, the phases. The implementation part is basically on software engineers, software developers. But think about a small organization. Think about a startup company. You may have you may have one project manager, one technical, one architect, one technical lead, and few developers, like 2 to 3 developers. Developers means software engineers and software developers. So we cannot start the coding. We cannot start the coding without the analysis part, without the designing part. So the development is only one thing, but actually the analysis, maintenance, innovation, plan, and project management, these all roles are related to this particular role, software engineer role. So every engineer should have this kind of skill set to survive in a good place. So it's always better to have these kind of skills rather than only improving the skills of coding. Right. So because these, if you have this kind of special skill sets, then definitely the higher management and maybe the other people around you will definitely recognize you with particular the skill sets, and it is definitely a plus point for you to improve in your career. So when we think about the development, it's the software development. So we can say it's coding, implement the source code, and the modeling means the data modeling. Simulation means we can run the application and we can debug, we can execute what we have implemented and do the testing, the quality assurance. And for these cases, there are some the designing the principles, I would say principles, because it is object oriented design, which is related to the programming languages. This is I will describe bit high levelly in later. Object oriented designing and the best practices. So these things needs to be there when you do a code. Can appear කියන්නේ දැන් කොහොම හරි වෙන්න වැඩක් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් අතරම. ඒ කියන්නේ කොහොම හරි වැඩේ වෙන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ local machine එකේ මම ලියන code එක වැඩ කරනවා. කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ. හැබැයි but think about a production environment where millions of users are getting into it and executing a lot of the business scenarios. What happens with the memory management, right? What happens with the code efficiency? So these things we have to think about. So it's not it's not again කොහොම හරි වැඩේ කරන එක නෙමෙයි, අපි වැඩේ හරියට කරන්න ඕනේ විදිහ ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ කරන හුඟක් වැදගත් ක්‍රම ටිකක් තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. අපි ඒක ඉස්සරහට කතා කරගෙන යමු. So the analysis part, as I mentioned earlier, the analysis of the requirements, the completing the system risk, reliability analysis, estimations. So I think I spoke about the estimations, that how we give an estimation to the project manager. So it needs to have a good communication among the team members, and understand what you have to do, and you have to give the estimation with all not only completing the code but including your testing as well. So for that one as well, for the analysis part, before you write the code, you need to think about the best possible ways to achieve that one. So that one you need definitely the impact analysis, and the object-oriented analysis. These things will definitely help you to build a quality software. The maintenance. So the maintenance means when your software is in the production. So I will explain you my current. I'll share with you my current one of my current experience. So normally, currently, I'm working for an organization which is handling the logistics in Singapore Customs. Normally, we have a lot of systems that we need to monitor. We need to monitor every time. So it is including with the Amazon cloud. So at that time, we some of the servers we need to monitor. So at that time, it is our responsibility some of the time, because if we say about the cloud, it's not always managed by all the cloud people. So there are a lot of the payment profiles that we have that we can also manage ourselves as well for the servers. So at that time, so this is one of that scenario. And so in that case, we need to we need to monitor the spaces, because every day the files are coming in, like XML, PDF, Excel files are coming in from the customers, and we need to check the free spaces and the memory kind of thing. So this is something that we have to monitor some of the times. And this is also a responsibility of a software engineer. And when it comes to the production incidents, there are a lot of scenarios that we have to engage, maybe sometimes directly with the customer, because some of the support engineers may not have that knowledge to describe it, may not have that kind of skill set to fix it, to give a workaround at that time. So at that time, you have to engage at that specific scenarios and give the fixes as soon as possible, and do the enhancements for the production incidents. So that maintenance part is also there. And the other one is the innovation. So innovation is something that you need to always have this one, like, because you are not a static person, you should be a dynamic person, because these industries keep changing, and a lot of technologies are coming in, a lot of strategies are changing, so you have to learn them all. So whatever the strategies, whatever the technologies which is giving you much more benefits, whatever you use for now, you have to implement and you have to apply those things. So you have to think about these things. Then you will be an innovative person, and you will be an innovative person who can give a valued support to an organization, and of course for yourself, because you will be keep improving your innovative skills. And the planning and the project management, this is also something that we have discussed, I think, earlier. So you can think about this is a high level the role of a software engineer. So it's not only the coding part, but it has a lot of other areas as well. So keep in mind, so one day if you need to be a good software engineer, you have to have this kind of a skill set, and you have to improve your skill set related to these particular areas. Okay. So let's continue with improving skills. So here, okay. So we need to understand that what skill sets we need to improve related to the software development, software engineering. So the coding. First one is the coding, programming. So this is the basic, the main part, the coding part. So normally, with my experience, I studied Java programming language when I was studying in Faculty of Engineering, University of Peradeniya. So I was more familiar with this particular the programming language. So but as an advice for you, let's say that if you need to be a software engineer in the front end side, like the front end means the software which end customer is engaging with. Mainly, if it is a web application, the JavaScripting, HTML, CSS, those technologies are being used. And if your focus is for the server side, the backend technologies, you can learn the server side technologies, server side the programming languages like Java, C#, C++, and the most popular programming language in these days is Python. So you can focus on those areas as well for coding. But please don't just learn most of the syntax. Actually, the syntax are different in each and every programming languages, but actually the internal concepts are really same. So study the concepts give a good value to the concepts. Like if your programming language is object oriented, pay much attention and pay more time to understand the concepts on object oriented analysis and take it. So likewise, starting from the variable definitions, variable type, exception handlings, and the threads, concurrency, multi-threading, and those kind of areas management, the log handling, all those things, the conceptual wise, those are same, but the syntax wise different when it comes to different programming languages. So the main thing is you have to learn the basic concepts really well. Then, of course, when let's say your organization change, you may doing your coding with Java language, and maybe later the organization decide to move it to Python language. We should migrate to Python. Then they get a decision. So at that time, there will not be a big time to move you into the Python the skill set. So if you have the basics, if you understand the basics really well, then it is not actually a big thing to catch up this new the programming languages. So the basic concepts are the same. And the other main thing is data structures and algorithms. I would explain this one the later on as well, so when you face for the interviews. So still the most reputed companies, when it comes to a technical interview, they would ask about the knowledge of data structures and algorithms. So how these data structures handled internally, how they handle the memory inside, how they handle the concurrency. So this kind of very important important things are there with data structures and algorithms. So this is a very important part when it comes to a programming language and when it comes to a technical skill. So you can see there are a lot of the collection when it comes to a collection framework in Java. Some of you may have known about Java. So collection framework. So you need to know that why we need to use array list, why we need to go for a set, why we need to go for a hash map. So this specific thing you need to know, that you cannot use every time linked list or every time array list. There should be a specific requirement that why you should move into that particular data structure. So that knowledge you need to have. So this is a very important item that you need to have. Okay. The other thing is the database. The database knowledge, of course, starting with the the relational database structure, the basics, the entity relationship diagrams, and converting and doing the normalization and creating the relational database structure, uh, uh, defining the primary keys, the foreign keys, and defining the indexes, and this kind of way designing parts. And after that, the transaction management, concurrency management, and finally the SQL programming knowledge. So these things are related to the database knowledge. You need to have this kind of knowledge, and even in a lot of interviews today, they definitely ask 1 or 2 questions related to the database as well. Definitely they will ask, because most of the banking related interviews, if you see, especially in Singapore, there will be definitely questions from database. And now actually, as a beginner, you don't need this kind of technical set that I'm going to tell you now. So now the database structure is getting different when it comes to the cloud environments. Like there are some strategies called database sharding, replication, these kind of things that because of the disaster recovery cases, that you need to have more than one database in different regions. So if one database met with an disaster, there should be another database live to run the system alive. So at that case, there are some strategies like the real-time replications, database sharding, those kind of things. I will explain it later. When it comes to, I'm planning to discuss a practical scenario with that one. So basically, for the database, you need to have this kind of knowledge. You need to build this kind of skill set to prepare for an software engineer, software developer role. Okay. The other one is source control. I think you may already know about this one. In today's, we have a lot of source control systems like the SVN, TFS. The most popular one is JIT. Source control means that it gives us the ability to work parallelly with a team. So it's like source control gives us the branching capability, that our main source code, which is in the main, maybe in the master branch, and we can branch out a different branch and do a feature development on that one, and after that we can merge it to the other master branch. So this kind of capabilities are provided by the source control. So it is a very required software system when it comes to the software development. So it is very you definitely have to have this the knowledge when it comes to the software development engineer also. Other thing is the testing procedures. So basically, when your coding part is done, it's not actually the end, but you have to execute the unit testing. So unit testing is, there are a lot of frameworks. You can for Java, you know that there are TestNG, and this kind of based on the different languages, different technology, there are a lot of unit testing tools and frameworks. So you can execute the unit testing. You can write the test case and execute the logic that you have implemented. So you can actually commit the code to the main branch once this testing is okay, testing is passed. So this is a good practice actually. And it is not only the unit testing, but you need to have the integration testing as well. So maybe you are developing a one software component, your team member is developing another software component, but these two are integrated internally. So so there is a one test scenario that both these software components needs to be integrated. At that time, you need to integrate these two particular components and do the testing. So this is for one business scenario, one particular test case. So when it comes to the system testing means, it's not the integration testing, but it's set of integration testing. like whole feature, like a whole set of tasks. We need to have a we need to integrate it into one environment, like QA environment, or maybe we have a developer environment. Then we need to execute the whole business scenarios, and we need to get it passed. So this kind of testing knowledge you need to have. Other thing is the debugging knowledge. So this is something very important. So when it comes to the debugging, you can do the debugging in server side. Of course, you can do the debugging in the front end as well. So front end, you have the browser capabilities to do the JavaScript debugging, and in the server side, if you are using, there are a lot of the integrated developer environments, like most popular one is for Java, it's Eclipse, JIDEA, and for the .NET, there are a lot of other IDs as well. For using that IDs, you can do the debugging. So you know that when you execute your business scenario, I mean your implementation code, when you execute it, you can stop at some kind of a point, and you can extract whatever the details passed to that particular method or particular function. Then you can see that the parameters are okay or not, and the logic is getting executed successfully or not. For that kind of watching thing you need to have. So these all features are provided by the debugging environment. So you need to have this one. Definitely, you need to have this kind of a skill set when you are there for software developments. And the operating system knowledge. So it is very different. So normally when I moved to Singapore, that previously when I was in Sri Lanka, there are all the servers were in the places where I worked. The places where I worked, all the servers were in the Microsoft operating system. But when I moved here, most of the time the servers are with Linux platforms. So when we need to log into a particular server and read a log file and do some operations and install a SSL certificate. So this kind of things, we need to have operating system knowledge. So normally in Windows, you know that we can do with the commanding tool, as well as it is very user-friendly environment that we have in Microsoft platform, but which is not in Linux. Linux you have to have in the CMD, the command line. So that kind of specific commands you need to know. So otherwise you will not be able to do a support. So the operating system knowledge is also be there. That skill also be there to be a good software developer and engineer. And the framework knowledge, actually this is I would say from the beginning of this journey, you may not need this framework knowledge, because you will when you start with a real industrial experience, you will get to know this one. Normally, it is okay to have basically the coding, the database, source control, testing procedures. This kind of skill set is enough for you to start a particular job, but the framework knowledge, of course, you can easily grab it. I would say like that, because even for me, I didn't know any of the frameworks when I start at my first job. So, but normally the framework, what framework does is it does most of the configurations for you. Normally, if you know only Java and you need to Java or C#, you need to achieve a task. There can be a lot of configurations, like how to create an object of a service. So how to instantiate it. So this kind of things, like when it as an example for a Spring framework in Java, it gives you a lot of configuration for you, like to do dependency injection. Like dependency injection means you do not need to create new instances, but the framework does it for yourself, does it for you. So you can just use the syntax and configure it and use it. That's all. So the frameworks gives you a lot of configurable configuration support to develop the software. Like as an example, the Spring framework is there for Java, and the Hibernate is there for the ORMs, object relational mappings, and entity framework for the .NET, and Django is for the Python. There are a lot of frameworks are there. The other one is the cloud platforms. So cloud platforms, of course, there are a lot of cloud platforms now everywhere. The cloud computing is a major topic. So basically, the Amazon cloud is there with a high margin, and after that we have the Azure, and after that we have the Google Cloud and the Oracle Cloud, and maybe the Salesforce as well. So it's really better to it's really good to have the cloud computing knowledge. So cloud computing actually it basically most of the time actually, when it comes to the earlier stages, we deploy our software products into on-premise environments. Like all the servers are in our the infrastructure is in our premises. So, but now the cloud platform is we move the infrastructure to the to internet, and it will be supported by a different vendor. Vendor means actually, if it is Amazon cloud, then Amazon will give you the support. They will do the patching. They will install the particular softwares. They will do the backups, and they will do the replication for you, and everything is there. So which is very popular and highly required knowledge this time. So it's really good to have this knowledge as well. Okay, so moving on. I put some soft skills as well. Not only the technical skills actually we need. So these soft skills definitely help you to play a really good role among your team. So first thing is the communication. So I will share one of my experience, which is actually when I was working with the Vietnam team and the Indian team. Normally the Indians are very good with English. We can understand what they speak, but it's really hard for me to understand how the Vietnamese speak. So maybe this is depending on the person. So at that time, what you can do is you have to find a different way of doing the communication. So there are a lot of ways actually. So involving with chat groups and involving with emails. So these kind of steps that you need to have. You cannot stop the thing, but you need to adapt and get the communication process and get the job done. So this is a good skill. And the communication, of course, normally in the software development lifecycle, you have to contribute to your definitely your friends, your team members, and you need to discuss. You need to have status updates. So in this time, your communication is really needed. So it is really good to have good communication skills. If you don't have, you need to gradually build it up. It will give you a good value to your role. Yeah. So the collaboration and teamwork, which is actually, I would say, which is coming with the attitude. And but of course, you can improve this as well. So this is basic. Normally, the software development is not a one-man job. It is definitely a team job that everybody is collaborating to achieve a task. So in that time, you need to help each other. You need to explain what others cannot understand really well. And that way, there is some driving part, so collaborating part. So this, of course, this is really needed when it comes to an actual environment. The thing is the self-awareness. Self-awareness, of course, this will build up with the experience when you get. And of course, when a task is assigned for you, you need to have an idea what I need to do. How can I achieve this one? So if you're not aware of this one, it's okay. You need to get that knowledge from a team member or maybe a senior person. So with the experience, you will get this self-awareness of what you have to do. And the problem solving and critical thinking, this comes with what this definitely comes with what you learned past with the basic concepts actually. So the problem solving and the critical thinking. So it is actually the way. There are a lot of ways to do a job. There are a lot of ways to write a software, write a code, but there may be one or two ways of doing it effectively. So you need to catch up that one. So that is something very important when you try to do that, and when you keep it as a habit, then finally you will not go for the other way. මම පොඩක් සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට වැඩක් දුන්නාම ඒක කොහොම හරි කරනවට වඩා අපිට පොඩ්ඩක් කියවලා බලලා මේක කරලා තියෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා හොයා කියන මේක හොඳම විදිහට කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියන්නේ ඩිසයින් පැටර්න් එකක් ඇප්ලයි කරලා එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක ගොඩක් ඉෆෙක්ටිව් විදිහට කොහොමද ලියන්නේ මේක රීයුසබල් විදිහට ලියන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා පොඩ්ඩක් තේරුම් අරගෙන ඒක කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අතරම ඒකට පුරුදු වුණාට පස්සේ අර විදිහ අර කොහොම හරි ලියන්න යන විදිහට අතරම Tamanටම ලියන්න හිතෙන්නේ නැහැ කාලයක් යනකොට. ඉතින් ඒක හොඳ ප්‍රැක්ටිස් එකක් අතරම. ඒ නිසා ඒක අපි අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම තියාගන්න ඕන එකක්. එතකොට මේ time management. Time management is also a very important thing when it comes to the estimation and when it comes to an deadline. So normally the time you should give, you should provide the time for all the phases like the coding, testing. Testing is not only your developer testing, but it is the unit testing, integration testing, and the system testing. So all these phases together, you have to give a time and you have to manage it. So in between, you may support for the other cases like production support as well. So at that time also, you can remove some of the non-priority items from your list, and you can manage the time to achieve the goal. So this kind of things you have to think about. Adaptability. So this is something very important. So adaptability means you can adapt to technologies. You can adapt to different working environments, different working cultures. So actually, when this is very, I have very good experiences for me, because when I was working in Sri Lanka, it's kind of a good environment that we can all speak with our own language, and we know each other very well, and it's very friendly environment most of the time. But when I come to Singapore, I cannot speak with my own language. I have to speak in English, and some of the people, they cannot actually, some of the times they cannot understand, and some of the time I cannot understand what they say, but I have to adapt. So these kind of environments are there, but you have to adapt it. So otherwise we cannot do our job in a good way. So adaptability is definitely there, and the patience. So patience, I think you can understand this one really well. So when we work in a team, there may be conflicts, and there may be conflicts with the team members, or maybe with the project managers because of the timelining issues. So these kind of things are there, but you have to be patient. And the other thing is that when a task is assigned to you, that when you try with your timeline, but you cannot achieve it. So at that time, also you have to be patient and you have to talk to a senior person and get some advices. So this kind of ways you can build up with these qualities your career well. So I think it's good to move into software engineering best practices. So when it comes to some recommendation of the books, I haven't read much of the technical books, but I can definitely recommend you these two books to read. I went through these books with the starting of my career. The Clean Code is a kind of an old book, but it contains a lot of good things for you to understand and you to improve your coding skills, and the clean architecture as well. When it comes to a distributed environments, like how you do your architecture in part, there are a lot of good ways that you can learn from here. Okay. So let me go to an actual scenario, which is actually I would like to cover most of these items in a code base, then you can understand it easily. So here, my first one is the enhance the code readability. So here mama කිව්වේ දැන් අපිට code එකක් ලියන්න පුළුවන් වැඩේ වෙන්න. හැබැයි ඒක හුඟක් දිගයි නම්, කියන්නේ අපිට කියවන්න හුඟක් වෙලා යනවා නම් කියවන්න ටිකක්, ඒ කියන්නේ තව අලුතෙන් join වෙච්ච team member කෙනෙකුට ඒක කියවන්න ටිකක් අමාරු වෙනවා. ඒක කියවලා තේරුම් අරගෙන යාට ඉස්සරහට continue කරන් යන්න බැරි නම් වගේ ඇත්තටම මේ code එකේදී readability එක අඩුයි කියලා කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අන්න ඒ වගේ එකක් overcome කරගන්නේ කොහොමද අපි? ඒතකොට දැන් මෙන්න මේවා තමයි best practices විදිහට අපි ගන්න ඕනේ. ඒක මම code එකකින් පෙන්නන්නම්. I hope all you can see my screen.
Yes, Sushant, yeah, all good. Please proceed.
Yeah. Before the code, yeah, let me come with okay, let's think about a practical scenario like this. So we have our local PC with us and we have a remote server, and we need to connect with this SFTP connection and download 3 types of files, like PDF files, XML files, and Excel files, and do the processing. So this is actually the task that we have. So let's think about a way that how we can achieve it. So I'll take you through some of the ways, and I'll discuss with you some of the best ways that we can implement that one. Of course, you may have much better way than what I implemented here. Maybe we can discuss later. Okay. So now our requirement is within our local server, we need to connect to a remote server within a different network, and we need to get and download the 3 types of files, which is PDF, XML, and Excel, and do the processing. Do the processing means we read those files and we read those data and insert into our own DB. So that is the processing. So for this one, I have a class which is the SFTP client. Hope you are bit familiar with Java or C# or anything. It doesn't matter if you don't understand, just stay here and just try to get some idea on this one. Okay, so here you can see this is the SFTP client, which helps us to connect to the remote server and download the files. So here you can see I have initiated few variables, which is host, port, username, password, and session. I have the default constructor here, and I have the overloaded constructor also here, with which is having a lot of which is having the above variables. So we can pass these parameters to this particular constructor and instantiate the SFTP client. And we have the connect method, which creates the connection between our local machine and the remote server. And we have the upload method for this scenario. I haven't used this method. And the download. This is the one that I use. After the connection is successfully done, then I can download the files that I can pass the source file name and the destination. Destination means actually in my PC. This is the file name, and this is the destination means my PC, my local PC. The file is getting downloaded to. And I have the disconnect method. So let's consider that this class is given to us. Okay. So let's also assume that the file names are taken from a DB database. The file names. So I have a data access class here. This is just an very simple implementation. You can see I can get the PDF file names, XML file names, and Excel file names. So these three methods gives me the file names of each of the file types. And I have the file service. So this is the class that I use the SFTP client and the data access class to get the file names and create the SFTP connection and pass the particular file paths and download the files and do the processing. So here I have initiated some of the variables. So you can see actually these are hard-coded values. Let's assume that one. So the user is there, password is there, the port, host, and the source PDF file path means actually the path where the PDF files are located in remote server. Okay. So for the remote, I use the source. Okay. Destination is actually our local server. So these are the file paths that this is where the files are located at, and these are the places that we need the files to download. Take the files into these particular places. Okay. So I have one method. And for this one, I instantiate the SFTP client, passing this particular values. You can see that everything is being set here. So I have the SFTP client here. And before do the connection, I get the file names from the data access class. So I can get the PDF file names, XML file names, and Excel file names. And after that, I do the connection here. And after that, the connection is being successful. So here you can see there's a try-catch block. If there is some issue with the connection, it will go here. So let's assume that there is no issue. The connection is successfully done. Then we can download the files. So I loop the PDF file names. And for each and every file, I created the source file path and the destination file path, and I do the download. So after download, I load it to a file object and pass to the file processing method. Sorry, add to the file processing list. So this is a PDF file processing list. You can see is a list of files. So you can see that inside this loop, it downloads the file and add to this list. And finally, when a loop is finished, we can process because at this time we have the files physically in our local machine. Then we can loop it and we can do the processing. So this is for the PDF, and I do same thing for the XML. And I do same thing for the Excel. And after that, I disconnect the SFTP client. So our job is done actually. So anyway, this is okay. but let's think about a way that we can do it more readable. Okay? So the already payන දැන් මේ code එක ගත්තාම දැන් මේක සාමාන්‍ය එක screen එකකටවත් set වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක සාමාන්‍ය line 100කට වැඩි 100ක් විතර තියෙනවා. එතකොට දැන් සාමාන්‍ය එතකොට මේ වගේ එකක් read කරන්න අමාරුයි. එතන අපිට තියෙන්න ඕනේ මේ බොහොම maximum කියන්නේ හොඳ practice එකක් විදිහට කියනවා මේ screen size එකකට වගේ එන්න ඕනේ එක method එකක් කියලා. ඒතර දැන් මේක ඒ විදිහට organize කරගන්න විදිහ අපි චුට්ටක් බලමු. ඒතර දැන් මේක මම ක්‍රම දෙකකට මේක කරලා තියෙනවා. මම එක ක්‍රමයක් පෙන්නන්නම්. දැන් මෙතන මේ hard code කරලා තියෙන values ඔක්කොම මම මේ size class එකෙන් අයින් කරනවා. ඒ ටික මම යවනවා වෙනම domain constant කියලා මේක static variables විදිහට මම මේක තියන්නේ. අතර ඇත්තට මේ class එක ඇතුළේ encapsulate කරලා තියෙන ඔක්කොම ටික. මේක එළියට පේන්නේ නැහැ ඇත්තට. ඒ කියන්නේ එළියට access කරන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් මේ service class එකක් ඇතුළේදී පේන්නේ නැහැ. ඒක දැන් මේ දෙවෙනි method එකේදී මම කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ file service 2 එකේදී මම දැන් මේ method එක චුට්ටක් බලන්න. එතකොට මේක උඩ මොකුත් variables නැහැ. variables define කරලා නැහැ. ඒ වගේම මම මේ logger එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. මොකක් හරි exception එකක් error එකක් වගේ ආවොත් මම ඒක log කරනවා. ඒ log කරනකොට ඒක මට server එකේ ගිහිලා log file එකකට මේක write වෙනවා. එතකොට ඒක මට read කරගන්න පුළුවන් මොකක් හරි ප්‍රශ්නයක් වුණොත්. මෙතනදී මම SFTP client එක instantiate කරනවා අර කලින් pass කරපු parameters ටිකම. හැබැයි ඒ parameters ටික දැන් මට මෙතන නැහැ. ඒක තියෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ domain constant කියන class එකේ static variables විදියට. ඒ ටික මට මෙතනදී use කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතකොට ඒ ටික මම reuse කරනවා දැන්. ඊපස්සේ මම ගන්නවා files ටික. ඊට පස්සේ ඒ files මේ විදිහ පොඩි logic එකක් මම දානවා. ඒ කියන්නේ files ටික empty වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ එක file එකක් හරි empty නම් අතර මම මේ logic එක execute කරන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. මට එතනින්ම return කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි මේ condition එක pass වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒ කියන්නේ files ඒ කියන්නේ file names ටිකක් තියෙනවා මට process කරන්න ඕනේ. එතනදී මොකද කරන්නේ මම SFTP connection එක හදාගෙන මම method තුනකට pass කරනවා මේ PDF file names ටිකයි XML file names ටිකයි Excel file names ටිකයි. ඒතර ඒකේ parameter එකක් විදිහට මේ instantiate කරපු SFTP client එකක් මම pass කරනවා. ඒතර ඇත්තටම මේකේ comment එකක් දාලා තියෙනවා download and process PDF files පළවෙනි එක. download and process XML files. download and process Excel files. දැන් මෙතන මේ methods තුනක් තියෙනවා ඇත්තටම. මම එක method එකකට ගියොත් එහෙම ඒකෙදි කරලා තියෙන්නේ මේ file names ටික loop කරනවා. path ටික හදා ගන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ source file name source path එකයි destination path එකයි හදාගෙන file එක download කරලා මේ list එකට add කරලා ඊට පස්සේ process කරනවා. දැන් එතන process කරද්දී මම තව ක්‍රමයක් පාවිච්චි කරා. මේ මෙතනදී මම file config කියලා class එකක් හදාගත්තා. මේක ඇත්තටම මේ model class එකක්. මේකේ තියෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම file type එකයි max file size එකයි. මේක නම් මම පාවිච්චි කරලා නැහැ. මේ list of files ඇත්තටම අපි කියමුකෝ දැන් මේක file type එක PDF නම් PDF list of PDF files ටික තමයි මෙතන තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර දැන් මේක මට use කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ file type තුනටම. ඒතර මෙන්න මේ domain object එක මම හදාගෙන තියෙනවා. ඒතර මෙතනදී මම කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ domain object එකක් මම fill කරගන්නවා මේ method එක ඇතුළේදී කරන්නේ PDF file ටික download කරලා process කරන්න යන එක. download කරලා ඉවරනාට පස්සේ මම ඒක ඒ class එක මේ instantiate කරගෙන ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක object එකක් හදාගෙන මම file process එකකට pass කරනවා. එතකොට දැන් බලමු file process එකේ ඇත්තට මොකද්ද කරලා තියෙන්නේ කියලා. file process කියලා මෙතන class එකක් තියෙනවා ඔයාලට පේනවා ඉතින්. ඒකේ public එක method එකක් තියෙනවා. අනිත් methods ටික ඔක්කොම private. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ ටික මට එළියදී access කරන්න බෑ. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ logic එක තනිකරම encapsulate වෙලා තියෙන මේ class එකට විතරක්. ඒතකොට මේකේ එළියේ මොකක්ද ඇත්තටම මේ එළියට දෙන්න පුළුවන් මේ method එක විතරයි. ඒතකොට මේ method එක call කරන්න එක කොහොමද මම අර file config කියලා හදාගත්ත මේ class එකේ object එකක් pass කරනවා. ඒතකොට ඒකේ තියෙනවා file type එක මොකක්ද කියලා. ඒතකොට මේ file type එක PDF නම් මම PDF file ටික process කරනවා. මෙතන switch case එකක් තියෙන. ඒ file type එක XML නම් මම XML file process එකට pass කරනවා method එකට. මේ private method එකට pass කරනවා. ඒතකොට මේක Excel නම් ඒ Excel logic එකට pass කරනවා. එතකොට දැන් බලන්න මෙතන දැන් මෙතන තියෙනවා මොකක් හරි ටිකක් රීඩබල් විදිහක්. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතනදී මේ මෙතඩ් එක කියව ගත්තාම අතර මේ මෙතඩ් එකේ ලයින්ස් තියෙන මෙච්චරයි. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙන්න මේ මෙච්චරයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒතර මට මේ දැන් මෙතනින් කාට හරි අලුතෙන් ජොයින් වෙච්ච කෙනෙකුට තේරෙනවා මෙයා මෙතනදී SFTP client එක හදාගෙන තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මෙයා ෆයිල් නේම්ස් ටික මේ එයාගේ DB එකෙන් අරන් තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ෆයිල් නේම්ස් ටික එයා පාස් කරලා තියෙනවා මෙන්න මේ ප්‍රොසෙස් කරන මේ මෙතඩ් එකට. ඇත්තට මෙන්න මෙතනින් වැඩේ ඉවරයි. ඒතර මොකක් හරි ලොජික් කොහේ හරි ෆේල් වෙනවා නම් එනම් මෙන්න මේ වගේ තැනකට ගිහලා මට බලලා එතන ඉෂුව එකක් තියෙනවා ෆික්ස් කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මේක රීඩබල් විදිහක්. දැන් ඔයාලට ඇත්තටම තවත් තේරෙන්නේ මේක මීටත් වඩා රීඩබල් කරන්න පුළුවන් විදිහක් දැන්. අවසානයේදී දැන් අපි දන්නවා මේ try catch finally වගේ දෙකකින් දැන් මේ finally එකේ ඇතුලේ තමයි මේක මම ඩිස්කනෙක්ට් කරලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකදදී finally block එක exception එකක් ආවත් නැතත් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම execute වෙනවා. නේ? එතකොට දැන් අපි resource ටික clean කරගන්න සාමාන්‍යයෙන් use කරන්නේ final block එක. එතකොට දැන් මේකේ මම දකින තව අඩු කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහක් කියනවා. දැන් මෙතන අපිට තියෙනවානේ method 3ක්. නේ? දැන් මෙතන method 3ක් තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට පේනවා මෙතන දැන් මේ method එකයි මේ method එකයි පොඩ්ඩක් compare කරපුවාම මෙන්න මේ line එකේදී මේ file type එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. මෙතනදී file path එක වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මෙතන PDF file path එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන XML file path එකක් තියෙනවා. එතන මට එක method එකක් ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් නේද මේ ටික parameterize කරලා මෙන්න මේ method තුනෙන්ම වෙන වැඩි එක method එකකින් ලියන්න. අන්න එතකොට ඒක more readable. එතන මේ විදිහට ලියපු එකක් තමයි මේ මෙන්න මෙහෙම තියෙන්නේ. එතනදී අත්‍තරම කරන්නේ file names ටික pass කරනවා SFTP client pass කරනවා file type එක pass කරනවා. එතන file type එක කොයි වගේ file type එක PDF නම් එයා PDF path ටික හදනවා මෙතන. XML නම් XML path ටික හදනවා. Excel නම් Excel path එක හදනවා. ඊට පස්සේ අර මේ මෙතනදී ඊට පස්සේ list එකට add කරගෙන මේ config එකට මේ file type එක දෙනවා. මෙතනින් pass කරනවා. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම දැන් මෙන්න මේ method එක මට use කරගන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මේ තුනම අයින් කරලා මට මේ තුනම අයින් කරලා මට මෙන්න මේක use කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි ඒක මට තුන් පාරක් use කරන්න වෙනවා. මොකද මේ ඒ කියන්නේ PDF වලට වෙනම use කරන්න වෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මෙතනදී මට දෙන්න වෙනවා මේ
Dushant,
Oh.
yeah, for a quick reminder that we have maximum around 30 minutes more,
Okay.
and we would like to have at least 10 minutes of time for Q&A session, 10-15 minutes of Q&A. And I think the audience would love to hear from you about your freelancing experience and something about this, how to monetize your skills and how to get something from this freelancing activity. So please pay some attention for that area as well.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So let me conclude this part. I think you may get an idea on this one. So actually, I have refactored this one for the next level as well. Maybe I can share with you this code as well. So in future, definitely I'll upload this one to GitHub and share the URL with all of you. Then you can download this particular code segments and you can get an idea. Okay, let me go back to the original. I'll quickly go with this one. Some of the topics that we have already discussed. So let me quickly go with that area. Sorry. Okay, so let me come to this part. The tips on improving skills. So when it comes to the read, there are a lot of resources in internet. You can read books, you can read articles, you can read blogs, even you can maintain your own technical blog and read lots of codes, right? Read your friend's code. I mean, within the team, read everyone's codes. Then you will learn a lot. And it comes to the video trainings. There are a lot of video trainings out there, especially in YouTube. I would say in YouTube because it's a free platform for you. There are a lot of video trainings. You can take a lot of knowledge out of there, and you can pay some considerable money to the Udemy and maybe the LinkedIn Learning. These platforms also give you complete set of trainings related to a particular area. So these things also are very important for you if you need to improve your knowledge. And check, compete by yourself. So there are a lot of platforms like the Lead Code and HackerRank. So let me show you one example with HackerRank. This is actually the it's loading actually. This is actually the HackerRank platform. So you can create a profile. And you can go to the you can go there and you can see the intermediate, easy, medium, hard. You can try this one. So keep it as a practice. Then it will give you a very very clear and very good image of problem solving. This will definitely help you to face the interviews, especially the coding interviews. So this is a very good platform that I would recommend for you, every one of you, to create a profile on here. And so maybe for 2 days, for a week, just try to solve one challenge. So then definitely it will give you a very good knowledge and very good skill. So keep that in mind as well. So that is the HackerRank platform, and the Lead Code platform is also the same, which is normally, if I would say that most of the other companies, like most of the companies, when it comes to the interview process, a lot of coding questions are there in Lead Code. So if you try to, if you have a practice on doing those questions, then it is very easy for you to face and nail those interviews. And this thing, I would say, this particular thing, please take it as a passion. So you can contribute to GitHub, like you can create a GitHub profile. GitHub is a framework that you can have your own codes there. You can share the codes, and let's say you create a software code with very effective way. Then you can share with the community. So it's very good, right? So then the community introduce you as a good resource. So this kind of things that you can do as a passion. So maintain a GitHub profile and commit your codes to the GitHub, and maybe clone the other person's already contributed codes to your own PC and play with it. So this is kind of a way that you can improve your skills. And there's another platform, Stack Overflow. When it comes to the developments, normally if there is a question on developing something, we definitely Google it, and the first the URL comes out is Stack Overflow. Definitely you are familiar with that one. So some of the questions, there are a lot of answers the people have contributed, and of course you can ask questions. You can ask questions in Stack Overflow, and you can give the answers for some of the questions already asked. So this way also you're contributing to the community. So this way you can have it as a passion, and it's a really good habit in the software industry. So other thing is, you can maintain your own technical blog, and you can share the codes with your with the community and get your code reviewed. So even now, before I commit the code, actually my supervisor, who is a very technical guy, he reviewed my code before merging into the main branch. So that at that time also I learned a lot of things. So this kind of practice should be there. So you can review other people's code, and please get reviewed your code as well. So I think these things we have already discussed. The refactoring of the code that I showed you, code, how to do it, how to introduce best practices, and how to introduce the ways that we can do a readable code and do a good planning and execute effectively the code, that when a new joiner comes to the team, then he can easily catch up the things. Other than he will, unless he will pay more time to understand what you have written. So this is something that very good thing you need to have this skill set. So need to improve the refactoring code as well. Okay, so let's come to the topic for the job opportunities. This is the picture. Actually, what I see based on my experiences. Maybe there are more than that. There are more other aspect as well. So when it comes to the job opportunities, I can clearly see there are a lot of foreign jobs, which is with the relocation. Like these days, especially in Europe, like most of the friends, we have started our career in Singapore. Now very limited people stay here. All others move to Germany and Netherlands. So they all relocated. They got the job opportunities from these job portals. And there are a lot of remote jobs. You can get the employment, but you can stay in your own country, and you can get a salary with a different currency. So there are also platforms like we work remotely in LinkedIn. If you search with the remote tag, you will get a lot of jobs like that. So the local jobs, of course, after you graduate and you have the skill set, there are a lot of opportunities in Sri Lanka as well. So this is also very, this is not a good, this is not a very a new thing that how to find and how to get a job within the country. Another thing is the freelance. So freelance, I would say there are two types. I will explain it in the next slide. Freelance, there are a lot of platforms that you can try, but believe me, it is not that much easy as we think. So let me go to that point. Okay. When it comes to the foreign and remote employments, these are the platforms that basically have the jobs posted. Like Indeed is one of the world very popular job portal, where you can filter and you can search based on your skill set. Whether you are a Java developer or .NET developer or front-end developer, you can have a lot of opportunities there. Seek is basically for New Zealand and Australia. And I have success stories with very recent incidents that most of the people who stayed in Singapore, they moved to Australia and New Zealand by getting a job through this Seek portal. And for the remote jobs, We Work Remotely is very popular platform that you can search for the jobs and apply for it. And there is a recruitment process, like definitely you have to face for an interview. The interview is a process that we can discuss in later slides. So this one also very popular one. And the LinkedIn, of course, this one. You can check for the remote jobs and the foreign opportunities, and everything is there. And for Job Street and Monster is, of course, if you are keen to find a job in Malaysia or in Singapore, definitely you have the opportunity. So as an example, I myself found the job from Monster. Before coming to the Singapore, I applied through Monster and faced the interviews here in Singapore and got the job opportunity. So that is how these job portals work. And Stack Overflow Careers, this is something that most of us doesn't know about much. But Stack Overflow Careers have a lot of relocation jobs. Means you can relocate with your family, especially to the areas like Europe. So I have some of my friends who got the job opportunities through Stack Overflow careers. So you can search by visa sponsorship with relocation. Then definitely you will have a lot of job opportunities, especially in Germany and Netherlands these days. There are a lot of opportunities that you can find the jobs. But when it comes to finding a job, of course, you can have the invitation for an interview. That is something with your profile and CV. But after that, there is something that you have to do. It's not, believe me, it's not easy. That is there is some challenging journey on there. So you have to be ready to face this one. Okay. So first one with the interview is they will definitely give you a coding test. Coding test is with the particular HackerRank or Codility, especially. There are other platforms as well, but mostly it is a HackerRank or Codility test. So there is a specific time period, and within that time period, you have to solve one, maybe 2 or 3 algorithmic questions. For this one, to successfully do this, definitely that practice, what I earlier explained, the practice you need to have, the knowledge with the data structures and algorithms, and the basics of the algorithms and basics of the programming languages. These knowledges are really needed to successfully pass these kind of coding tests. After that, you have the technical interview. So technical interview is something that they will definitely check your technical knowledge. They will basically ask you the programming language related things and your past experiences with the software projects that you have, what you have experienced. And of course, yeah, this kind of normal technical interview. So, but I haven't faced, but most of my friends told me that the way they expect something is a bit different rather than when you are facing an interview in Sri Lanka or Singapore, especially for these European countries. They basically mostly don't ask very in detail, very related coding level questions, but they ask about the concepts. So how if you have the concept clearly with you, of course you can do this one. And some of the times they check your attitude as well. They check that you are fit for their own their team. So this kind of checking is also there. And it is not the final, but there's a live coding test as well. So this is something not comes with every company, but if you think about the companies like Meta, Amazon, and the Bloomberg, Booking.com, these kind of companies, they definitely check your coding skills at that time. So this is a peer programming interview. So there is a person who gives you who gives you a question, and you have to speak with him, and you have to give a solution. For that one, there are some tips actually. So if you get the question at the time, and you just read it and be silent and try to give the solution, which doesn't work. Every time you have to discuss. Every time you have to talk. You have to communicate with the person who does the interview. So, like as an example, let me explain it in singular. So, මේ වගේ දැන් peer programming coding interview එක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දැන් ඔයා මේක complete කරන එක බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අතන ඔයා කොහොමද මේකට approach වෙන්නේ කියලා තමයි බලන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට. එතනදී දැන් ඔයාට strategy එකක් තියෙනවා මේක හදාගන්න, හැබැයි ඔයාට sure නැහැ. අන්න ඒ වෙලාවේදී උලන් කතා කරන්නේ දැන් මට මෙන්න මෙහෙම ස්ට්‍රැටජි එකක් තියෙනවා, මම දැනට මෙන්න මේ වගේ ක්‍රමයකට තමයි යන්න හිතන් ඉන්නේ, මේ වගේ ක්‍රමයකට යන්න හිතන් ඉන්නේ, එතනදී මම මෙන්න මේ වගේ අප්‍රෝච් එකකට යන්න බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ දෙයක් අපි කතා කරන ගමන්ම තමයි මේක කරන්නේ. එතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාවට අරයාගෙන් ඉන්පුට්ස් එනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ එයා දන්නවා ඔයාට මෙහෙම ID එකක් තියෙනවා. මේ වගේ දෙයක් ඔයා කරන්න යන්නේ. මෙන්න මේ වගේ දෙයක් කරලා තමයි ඔයා මේ වැඩි මේ සොලියුෂන් එක දෙන්න හදන්නේ. ඒතකොට දැන් අන්න එතනදී ඔයා පාවිච්චි කරන මොන හරි data structure එකක් තියෙනවා නම් අන්න එතනදී මම මේ data structure එකට තමයි මම යන්න ඉන්නේ. මොකද ඒකේ internally data handles වෙන්නේ මෙන්න මේ විදිහට. ඒතකොට ඒක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මට මේ ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වෙයි. මම අනිත් data structure එකට යනවට වඩා මෙන්න මේ වගේ දේවල් ඔය හැමතිස්සෙම එයාත් එක්ක කතා කර තමයි යන්න ඕනේ. ඒතකොට කතා කරගෙන යනකොට එයාට ID එකක් එනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ වාට ඒ කියන්නේ අත්‍තර මේක කරගන්න පුළුවන්. එහෙම නැත්නම් මේක කරගන්න ඕනේ කරන ඒ කියන්නේ බෑග්ග්‍රවුන්ඩ් එක ඔයාගාව තියෙනවා. සමහරවිට මේ වෙලාවේදී ඔයාට මේක කරගන්න බැරි වෙයි. නමුත් ඔයාගාව යමක් තියෙනවා මේක කරන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. අපි එකපාරටම මේ නිශ්ශබ්දව හේ තනියෙන් try කර ඉන්න ගියොත් මේක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. ඉතින් මේක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කතා බහ කරගෙනම යන්න ඕන එකක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් මේ කියන මම මේ ටික පොඩ්ඩක් සිංහලෙන් එක්ස්ප්ලেইন කරන්න මේක ගොඩක් වැදගත් වෙයි කියලා මම හිතන නිසා ඉස්සරහට ඔයාලා ගොඩක් ඉන්ටර්වයුව පැත්තට ફોකස් කරන්න ඉන්නවනේ. එතකොට අවසානයේදී තියෙනවා මේ සිස්ටම් ඩිසයිනින් ඉන්ටර්වයුව කියලා එකක්. ඒකෙදී අත්‍තරම බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ ඔය සිස්ටම්ස් ඒ කියන්නේ ඉන්ටිග්‍රේට් කරලා සොලියුෂන් එකක් දෙන්නේ කොහොමද කියන නොලෙජ් එක තමයි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ. ඒකත් අත්‍තරම ඩිස්කෂන් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකදී එයා දෙනවා ඔයාට මෙන්න මේ වගේ එකක් කොහොමද අපි කරන්නේ. එතකොට ඔයාට ඒ software components ටික ඇඳලා මම මෙන්න මේ වගේ approach එකකට යන්න හදන්නේ. මම මේ විදිහේ software components ටිකක් use කරනවා. මෙතනදී මේ විදිහට තමයි data ටික handle වෙන්නේ. මේ විදිහට data ටික cache වෙනවා. මේ විදිහට database එකට යන්න ඕන වෙලාවට ඒක යවනවා. අනිත් වෙලාවට මම cache එකෙන් ගන්නවා. මෙන්න මේ වගේ ක්‍රමවේදයක් ඔයා හැමතිස්සෙම discuss කර කතා කර තමයි මේ interview එක face කරන්නේ. අන්න එතනදී අර මේ කියන්නේ ඉන්ටර්වියු කරන කෙනාට ID එකක් එනවා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට මේ ඔයාට මේ දේ කරගන්න පුළුවන් කියලා. එතකොට දැන් මේ මෙතන හුඟක් වෙලාවට පාවිච්චි කරන දේවල් තමයි මේ cloud computing knowledge එක, database knowledge එක, ඊට පස්සේ මේ caches සහ distributed cache කියන එක, ඊට පස්සේ messaging queues. මේ Kafka වගේ messaging queues වල තියෙන knowledge එක ගොඩක් බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. ඉතින් මෙන්න මේ ඔක්කොම ටික ඉවරනාට පස්සේ තමයි HR interview එක තියලා ඔයාව මේ කියනවා select කියලා එන්නේ. ඉතින් මේක lazy process එකක් නෙමෙයි. හැබැයි කරන්න බැරි දෙයක්වත් නෙමෙයි. There are lot of success stories that I know. I can give you lot of examples. ඉතින් මේ අපි ඉස්සරහට මම මේ system designing interview එකක් ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්නම්. ඉතින් මේ ඔයාලා දන්නවා මේ අර URL shorten කරන ක්‍රමවේදයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි YouTube එකේ ගත්තත් හොඳට බලන්න YouTube එකේ short URL එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි URL එක ගත්තොත් එimhe server එක ඊට පස්සේ ඒක තියෙන කොතනද තියෙන්නේ folder එක sub folder එක කොහොමද ගිහිල්ලා සාමාන්‍ය ලොකු URL එකක් දෙන්නේ නැතුව මේක පොඩි URL එකකින් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපිට ඒකට තියෙන මේ usages තමයි අපිට මේ social media වල මේක කියන්නේ පහසුවෙන් share කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ ටිකක් පහසුකම් තියෙන නිසා. ඒතර ඇත්තටම දැන් මෙන්න මේ අපිට ඕනේ දැන් අපි ගාව ගොඩක් දිග URLs තියෙනවා එක systems access කරන්න. ඒතර අපිට ඕනේ මේක replace කරගන්න short URL එක. කොහොමද මේ වගේ system එකක් අපි implement කරන්නේ? මෙන්න මේ වගේ අදහසක් අහන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මේ වගේ කරන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා අහන්න. ඇත්තට මේක ගොඩක් ප්‍රසිද්ධ system designing interview. ඒතර ඇත්තට මේකෙදී පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ මෙන්න මේ වගේ විදිහක් ඉතින් මෙතන database එකක් තියෙනවා. the web service එකක් තියෙනවා. මෙතන analytics part එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක දැනට මම පස්සේ කතා කරන්නම්. දැන් ඒකට දැන් client user දෙන්න පුළුවන් short URL එක. මේ short URL එක යාගේ මේ දිග URL එක replace කරන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර ඇත්තටම මෙයා මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒක මේ service එක යාව DB එකට යවලා යාගේ මේ long URL එකට against short URL එක save කරගන්නවා. ඊට පස්සේ මේක මෙයා short URL එක access කරන. ඇත්තම short URL එකෙන් අපිට මේ එයාට ඕනේ ඇත්ත website එක හරි application එක හරි access කරගන්න බෑ. මොකද ඒක point වෙන්නේ නැහැනේ මේ deployment server එකට. ඒතර ඒක point වෙන්නේ ඇත්තටම මේ ඒකෙන් අපි resolve කරගන්න ඕනේ මේ දිග URL එක. ඉතින් ඒක තමයි මේ DB එකේ save වෙලා තියෙන්නේ මේ short URL එකට against. ඒතර ඒක ගන්න පුළුවන් ක්‍රමය තමයි මේ short URL එක ආයෙ pass කරපුවාම service එකට එයා DB එකත් එක්ක communicate කරලා එයා return කරනවා දිග URL එක. අරකට against map වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ මෙතනදී වෙන්නේ service එකෙන් මේක return කරනකොට ඒක redirect වෙනවා browser එකට. ඒතර අපිට අර දිග URL එකේ තියෙන දිග URL එකෙන් mean කරන redirect කරන මේ application එක access කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් මෙන්න මේ වගේ එකක් අපි කරපුවාම ඊට පස්සේ යාලා ආය අහනවා මේ වගේ එකක් improve කරගන්නේ කොහොමද කියලා. අන්න ඒ වෙලාවට අපිට දෙන්න උත්තර තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් මේක එක දෙකකට හරියන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ URL 5කට 10කට මේක ඕකේ කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැතුව මේක වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි හිතන්න මෙතන clientsලා මිලියන ගාණක් ඉන්නවා. URL මිලියන ගාණක් පාස් වෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ වුණාම කොහොමද මේක අපි enhance කරගන්නේ? මේ system එක support කරන්න without any disruption. ඒතරම් මේ වගේ එකට මෙන්න මේ වගේ දෙයක් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක scale කරන්න පුළුවන්. මේ web server ටික අපිට horizontally scale කියලා තමයි මේකට කියන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ අපි එක web service එකක් වෙනකොට එකම web service එකේ instance ගොඩක් අපි use කරනවා. එක web service එකේ instance ගොඩක් use කරනවා. එක DB එකක් වෙනකොට අපි DB දෙක තුනක් සමහරට DB sharding කියලා ක්‍රමයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ DB අපි replicate කරගන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ උදාහරණයක් විදිහට අපි save කරන DB එක database එක data persist කරන්න data save කරන DB එකක් තියාගන්නවා. ඒත් එක්කම ඒක මේ sync වෙනවා තව DB එකකට. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ data ම available තව DB එකක අපි DB data read කරන්න use කරගන්නවා මේ DB. ඉතින් ඒ වගේ එතකොට මේක scale වෙලා තියෙනවා. මෙතනත් scale වෙලා ඒතර load balance එකක් වගේ use කරගෙන අපිට මොන instance එකකටද point වෙන්නේ කියලා වගේ මේ කතා කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒතර හිතන්නකෝ දැන් අපි එකම object එක හැමතිස්සෙම access කරනවා නම් ඒක එහෙම එකට DB call එකක් යවන එක අපරාධයක් ඇත්තටම. ඒතර අන්න ඒ වගේ වෙලාවකට කරන්න පුළුවන් cache එකකට තියාගන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ මේක කියන්නේ cache එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මේ වචනේ මාර්ථය තේරෙනවා ඔයාලට. මේ cache එක කරන්නේ ඉතින් අර frequently access කරන data අපි cache එක තියන් ඉන්නවා. ඒතර මේ පැත්තෙන් එන request එක ඉස්සෙල්ලාම cache එකේ තියනවද කියලා බලනවා. නැත්නම් විතරක් DB එකට යවනවා. අන්න ඒ විදිහට ගන්නවා. දැන් මෙන්න මේ වගේ එකක් තමයි අතර මේකට දෙන්න පුළුවන් උත්තරේ. ඉතින් මේක improved design එක. ඔන්න ඔය වගේ එකක් තමයි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ system designing මේ question එක. system designing මේ interview එක. මේ ප්‍රමාණයට ඔයාලට දෙන්න පුළුවන් නම් මේ කියන්නේ සාර්ථක ප්‍රතිඵලයක් ගන්න පුළුවන් අනිත් පැත්තට. හරි. අපි පොඩ්ඩක් මේ freelancing පැත්ත ගැන කතා කරමු. So when it comes to the freelancing, as I mentioned you that there are two types actually. So the freelancing, there are a lot of platforms like Fiverr, Freelance, Upwork, TopTal. There are a lot of platforms, but believe me, it's not easy. It's not easy to find a work very quickly. You have to have a good profile. You have to have a good working history. Maybe there are some occasions that you can easily get an opportunity, but that is not the case in every time. So you need to have a good profile. So it takes some time actually. It takes some time, and of course there are some other platforms where they will not consider about your profile, but they will consider only about your skill. Okay, so most popular one is the Topcoder, and there's CodeChef and CodeForces as well. Let me go through the Topcoder one with you. So this is how you see the Topcoder platform. So here you can see the open for registration. So I will share these the URLs in the description. So you can see there are you can filter the challenge types. So if you are a design person, if you are the software development guy, data science, or quality assurance, you can filter like this. You can filter and you can register for these particular challenges. And when you so they will not check your profile. You can just register and you can give the solution. You can submit the solution. Then there is a panel who will review your final output, and they will do a placements. And if you are come to that particular placement, then you will receive this particular amount. You can see it is not a small amount. It is considerably very high amount in US dollars, for especially this Topcoder. So I have very close friends of mine. Two of them are my batchmates. Very good, successful stories. Hope they are also in this panel as well. So maybe if we have the questions, we can share with them as well. So let me show you one particular example for you to just to think about. Okay, this is actually the one of challenge. You can see the first price. It's 12,000 US dollars, right? And there are fifth placements. So what you have to do is you don't need to have a good profile, but if you have the skill to compete, you have to improve that one. That will take some time. You can register and you can compete and win. So we have success stories. So it's not but you need to have a good commitment for this one. And if you are okay for that one, definitely you can win this one. This is something that I wanted you to I want to share it actually. Okay.
Dushanta, can we go some quick questions if they have? Because
yeah, sure. Okay.
yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, I saw there were a few hand raises. And if you have Sanjay, can they ask questions straight away right now? It is allowed right now for the audience?
Nalin, if they hand raise, we can give opportunity to unmute and ask the question.
All right, okay. And ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please raise your hands through reaction button in the Zoom. And Dushanta, there's a small question from chat box. Is SIMA needed for business analytics in IT field? Because the business analytic part you have mentioned, SIMA is charging.
Yeah, actually, I would say I'm not going to say that is not needed, but it is always better to have that kind of that kind of things as well. Definitely, it will add more value to the that particular role, because it is definitely business related. So it will give a good space, good opportunity to understand the business perspective. And what he has to do is to understand whatever the things we do in the technical ground. So then it will be a good match for them. So it is definitely a value added one.
Thanks, Dushant. Sanjay, how long we can stay with this time frames what we have allowed?
Yeah, we can have another maximum 8 to 10 minutes.
All right, okay, thanks. We have another question from the chat box. What are the difference between computer science and software engineering? What are the related opportunities? So there's a bit of a lengthy questions to answer. I think, shall you use the WhatsApp platform to answer this instead of this Zoom platform? And Dushanta, I think you can make a small write-up if you would mind. Or else we can get some advice.
Okay, I can answer in the after this session as well, right?
Please. Okay. Yes. You can just drop some message as well, because our time frame through the Zoom platform, it's expiring, I guess, by 8:45. So we'll have this through the WhatsApp groups. And Dushant, if you are to give some messages to this, because see, to be frank with you, we have to understand that what are strengths and what are our weaknesses, because staying in a foreign country, especially in Singapore, how you find this Sri Lankan attitudes, like for example, what are our real strengths and what are our real weaknesses? And product brief කරොත් එහෙම දැන් young generation එක ඉන්න නිසා අතන වෙනත් nations අත් එක්ක වැඩ කරලා තියෙන නිසා අතනම අපේ තියෙන skills අපේ weaknesses ගත්තොත් මොන වගේ පැතිකඩ අපි හදා ගන්න ඕන කියලා හිතුවොත් සහ මොනවද අපි excel කර ගන්න ඕන කියලා මම question එක අහුවොත් එහෙම what's your honest answer?
අතර මේක මම පොඩක් සිංහලෙන් උත්තරයක් දෙන්න. ඒක ටිකක් හොඳට මේ කතා කරන්න ඕන දෙයක් හින්දා ඒක මමත් ගොඩක් එක්ස්පීරියන්ස් කරපු දෙයක්. දැන් මම එන්නේ 2018 වගේ කාලෙදි මෙහෙට. ඒතර මෙහෙ හුඟක් කට්ටිය කියන හුඟක් ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටිය හිටියා. දැන් සමහර කම්පැනිස් තිබ්බා ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටිය විතරක් රෙක්රූට් කරන. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකට හේතුව තමයි ඒ කියන්නේ මේ කියන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටියගේ කමියුනිකේෂන් පොඩ්ඩක් හොඳයි. ටක් ගාලා ඇඩැප්ට් වෙන ස්වභාවයක් තිබ්බා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇඩැප්ට් වෙන ක්වොලිටි එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් ටිකක් ඕනෙම ටීම් එකක් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න ගියපුවම පොඩ්ඩක් ඉවසීමක් තියාගෙන තව කෙනෙක් ගැන හිතලා වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ ක්වොලිටි එකක් ඇත්තටම මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් පැත්තේ ගාව තියෙනවා කියලා අයිඩි එකක් ඇත්තටම තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම දැන් උදාහරණයකට දැන් මම දැන් වැඩ කරන මේ ආයතනයේ වුණත් දැන් මම කලින් මගේ පොසිෂන් එකේ හිටියේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කෙනෙක්. ඊට කලින් ඉඳලා තියෙන්නේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම එයා රෙක්රූට් දැන් මගේ සුපර්වයිසර් රෙක්රූට් කරේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කෙනෙක්. ඉතින් අන්න ඒ වගේ අවස්ථා හුඟක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ අපේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් එන කට්ටිය ගාව මෙන්න මේ ක්වොලිටි එක තියෙනවා. ස්පෙસિෆිකලි අපේ ටෙක්නිකල් ටැලන්ට් එක ඇත්තටම හිතා ගන්න බැරි තරම් ඉහළ මට්ටමක තියෙන පිරිස් ඉන්නවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ඇත්තටම මේ පිරිස් දැන් හුඟක් වෙලාවට සිංගප්පූරුවේ නැහැ. ඒ කියන්නේ මාත් එක්ක ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ සමකාලීනව ආපු කට්ටිය හුඟක් දැන් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට ඉන්නේ යුරෝපියන් කන්ට්‍රීස් වල කැනඩාවට ඕස්ට්‍රේලියාවට වගේ මයිග්‍රේට් වුණා. ඉතින් ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකට ඇත්තටම අර දැන් අපි ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කම්පෙයාර් කරනවා මේ ඉන්දියන් කමියුනිටි එකත් එක්ක. ඉතින් ඇත්තටම දැන් මම බිලීව් කරන දෙයක් තමයි ඉන්දියාවේ ගොඩාක් දක්ෂ කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි සිංගප්පූරුව වගේ රටක අර ඉන්දියාවේ ඉන්න බෙස්ට්ම කට්ටිය නෙමෙයි ඉන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකත් එක්ක ඒ කට්ටියත් එක්ක කම්පීට් කරන එක ඇත්තටම එතන චැලෙන්ජ් එකක් ඇත්තම නෑ වගේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටියට. ඉතින් ඒ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටියගේ එන ක්වොලිටිස් එක්ක ඒ තැනක සර්වයිව් වෙන්න ටෙක්නිකලි පර්ෆෝම් කරන්න හුඟක් හොඳ මේ අවස්ථාවක් තියෙනවා මේ සිංගප්පූරුවේ. ඉතින් ඒක මම හිතන්නේ මෙතන මෙහෙවත් මගිත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන තව කට්ටියත් ඇති ඕන කෙනෙක් මේ ඇග්‍රි වෙයි මේ මං කියපු දේත් එක්ක ඇත්තටම.
Thanks, Dushyant. And for all the members who are participants, please mark your attendance if you have not marked your attendance. It's in the chat box and it's a Google form, and still it's in the YouTube live streaming as well. So please mark your attendance. And Dushyant, as we are running out of the time, and thank you very much, and also thanks for your colleagues to be here for backup or just to give some proofs. And one final remark, or if you are to close these things down, what can you tell about this, especially these there are undergraduates here, there are many of young professionals, entrepreneurs are here. So what could be your final message, and where we have to, especially with this crisis situation, maybe there are a lot of challenges, there are obvious challenges, it's a global challenge maybe, but in particularly Sri Lankans we have some specific challenges. So what's your message to this younger generation?
Yeah, specifically for the younger generation, definitely this is a very good industry that you can definitely survive and you can earn a lot of money, and there are a lot of success stories. But the thing is that you need to improve yourself every day, because with comparing to the other industries, this IT industries keep changing. So today we have a technology, but tomorrow we have a new technology coming in. So you have to face it, you have to grab it, you have to learn it, and you have to apply it. So this is the thing that so it's never I mean it's a learning curve. Every time it's a learning curve, it's a learning journey. So be with that, and there are a lot of opportunities open for you. Definitely you will have the chance.
Thanks, Dushyant. And if I am to ask the same question from your two colleagues, if they are available, are they available around? I think I can shoot the same question, and at least one or two, if he's available, then you can just ask him to respond with some positive thoughts or with some lessons.
Janit, yeah, if Janit or Dimitri, yeah.
Sanjay, if you can unmute and give this opportunity to speak.
Yeah,
out.
it's just allowed now. It is allowed.
Do we have Janit here?
Oh, Dimutu.
What's the other name? Dushyant?
Dimutu.
Yeah, that's fine, because I know that it's 2.5 hours difference, so it might be around 11:30, somewhere around.
So it's 11:13.
Yeah, that's well understood. Okay, do we have anything to mention as a final remark in Sinhalese as well, Dushyant? Let's close this up within 2 minutes time. Yeah.
මේක ඇත්තටම අර ගොඩක් opportunities තියෙන industry එකක්. මේ වගේ වෙලාවක තමන්ට තනියෙන් නැගිටින්න හරි තව කෙනෙකුට උදව් කරන්න හරි තවත් කෙනෙකුට opportunity එකක් පෙන්වලා දෙන්න හරි ගොඩක් opportunities තියෙන industry එකක් මේක. වෙනත් industry වලට සාපේක්ෂව ගොඩක් salary scales වැඩි industry එකක්. ගොඩක් මේ learning path එකක් තියෙන ඒ වගේම challenges තියෙනවා. නමුත් opportunities ගත්තාම අනිත් industries එක්ක compare කරපුවාම හිතා ගන්න බැරි තරම් opportunities ගොඩක් තියෙනවා. ඉතින් අර මේක අර කවදාවත් අර ඉගෙන ගන්න එක නවත්තන්න එපා. දිගටම තමන්ගේ හැමදාම මේක passion එකක් විදිහට practice එකක් විදිහට අලුත් දේවල් ඉගෙන ගන්න, අලුත් technologies, අලුත් technology patterns, ඉගෙනගෙන තමන්ගේ knowledge එක improve කරගන්න ඒ වගේම compete කරන්න හැමතිස්සෙම. ඒ කියන්නේ තමන්ව test කරගන්න ඕනේ තරම් job portals තියෙනවා, platforms තියෙනවා. ඒවත් එක තමන්ව test කරගන්න තමන් ready ද දැන් මේ කියන opportunity එක මම ready ද කියලා තමන්ම කියන්නේ self awareness එකක් ඇති කරගන්න. ඒ වගේම පුළුවන් තරම් මේ interviews තියෙන opportunities try කරන්න. අනිවාර්යෙන්ම අවස්ථාව තියෙනවා. මොකද ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටිය මම දැකපු ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටිය ඉතාම ඉහළම තැන්වල ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් ඒක මේ අපේ community එකත් එක්ක සාපේක්ෂව ගත්තම ඉන්දියන් community ගොඩාක් ලොකුයි. හැබැයි ඒකට සාපේක්ෂව ශ්‍රී ලංකන් කට්ටිය ගත්තාම අපේ කට්ටිය ඉන්න තැන් ගොඩක් ඉහළ තැන්වල ඉන්නවා. ඉතින් අන්න ඒක ගොඩක් ලොකු දෙයක්. ඒ potential එක අපි ගාව තියෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක ඒ නිසා හැමතිස්සෙම ඒක තියාගෙන ඒ qualities හදාගෙන හැමතිස්සෙම improve වෙලා මේ opportunities ටික grab කරගන්න කියලා තමයි කියන්නේ.
Okay, thank you very much, Dushant, and that's a good message ultimately, because the quantity sometimes doesn't matter, but the quality matters a lot. And thanks a lot. And I would like to thank you under 3 verdicts. Number 1 is to have your knowledge shared selflessly and preparation, so such a contribution. And the number 2 is to set a good example, being a youth and being around the world and having seen the world and sharing this knowledge. Number 2. And number 3 is basically you're working from Singapore, and with this time difference, and especially in a Sunday or Saturday evening or a weekend, otherwise would have spent the time with your family. And thanks a lot for spending time with us. And with that remark, ladies and gentlemen, while thanking Dushant to his valuable contribution, and I would like to again highlight the fact that quantity doesn't matter sometimes, but the quality. Yes, we have a challenge with this Indian, Bangladesh, Indonesian, and these other countries, not only in software industries, but in many of the industries, and global challenges are always there. But as Sri Lankans, we have different qualities. We have unique qualities where we have to encash. And to close these things up, I just had a chat with one of my good friends from Dubai, and he said, Nalin, for this World Cup, football World Cups, you can say the Brazilians have closer to 300 millions of population, and Croatians have only 3.6 millions of populations. But see the difference between the quality and the teamwork. So don't rely on the volume or the quantity, and just think of this 20 million of Sri Lankans. We can do wonders if we are qualified and if we have the real attitude. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, especially Engineer Dushant. Thanks for staying with us late nights and giving your selfless contribution. And I would love to have your presentation as well, the latest revised presentation. There are a lot of requests. If you can, please try to share at least the PDF version, then we can share with the participants. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, we are concluding our 2nd day today, and we have the 3rd day on 17th, and we are taking 2 weeks of break for the Christmas and the year end, and we resume our session. The 4th session would be on 7th January. And again, please mark your attendance. And with that remark, thank you very much. Have a pleasant evening and good night.
Thank you very much.
Dushant, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dushant. Right, Sanjay, shall we conclude?
Yeah, sure.